We call this meeting to order. It's the 207th meeting of the Equal Employment Practices Commission. Okay. Could I have approval of the minutes of the meeting of January 19th, 2017?
I motion to approve.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The minutes are approved. Audit status report.
Okay, so how can I begin this?
Louder.
So we initiated at the end of 2016 to facilitate the fulfillment of the 2017 plan, 30 audits. However, how can I explain this? The 2016, thank you, audit plan is closing in this meeting.
Right.
The reason why we're closing it is because some agencies, their compliance monitoring spilled over into January. And so by the end of this meeting, the agencies that were on the 2016 audit plan, which is, I think we're gonna have 34 agencies that closed out from the 2016 audit plan.
So we will continue
Does that make
to,
sense?
yes, so we will have continued to meet our requirement as stated under the, I guess, the charter of seeing each of the city agencies once every 4 years. We will have met our 4-year our compliance.
Let's put it this way, we're continually meeting.
I understand that.
Yeah.
We've attained it and we're continuing down that trajectory so that all agencies that have been audited within the past 4 years, well, all agencies are on a 4-year cycle to being audited because some of them we get back in 3 years.
Well, some require you to come back earlier for other reasons.
So that we're gonna talk about some of the agencies that we're gonna come back to within a year that have been reached in this cycle, but we still have to go back and audit them for whatever issues are outstanding. So, okay. The annual report, we'll have that after I tweak these numbers.
The annual
Should be
report
done
will
by
show that
tomorrow.
the annual report will show that we have completed audits or review of 34 agencies, correct?
Right.
Okay.
We still have agencies that are going on now. However, we have completed 34 from the 2016 annual plan.
From the
Yes,
2016.
that's only two. There's only two.
Okay.
Yes.
This is from the 2016.
16 plan.
Yes.
So we continue to meet our stated requirement.
Right.
Okay.
So, in terms of voting on the agencies, they're listed here. We have 3 agencies that we're issuing a determination of non-compliance. This was discussed last meeting. There's nothing else to say about them. We'll have to come back to them within a year. Do you guys want to read the resolution numbers?
The Queens.
So it's a report on status of compliance monitoring. I need a vote on the 7 listed agencies. Can someone read the resolutions in? Well, I can read them. Resolution 2016AP/9055C-24, Richmond County District Attorney's Office. Resolution 2016AP/057C-26, New York City Fire Department. Resolution 2016AP/468C-27, Hostos Community College. Resolution 2016AP/4 943C-28, Kings County Public Administrator's Office. Resolution 2016AP/941C-29, New York County Public Administrator's Office. Resolution 2016AP/463C-33, Bronx Community College, and Resolution 2016AP/465C-34, Kingsborough Community College. May I have a vote on that?
I move to approve all the resolutions.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All of those resolutions have been voted and approved by the board, by the commission. Okay, a vote on agencies with non-compliance. Resolution 2016AP/904NC30, Office of the Queens District Attorney. Resolution 2016AP/942NC31, Office of the Bronx County Public Administrator. Resolution 2016AP/945NC-32, Office of the Richmond County Public Administrator. May I have a vote on the agencies with non-compliance?
I make a motion to accept.
Second,
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
The commission has voted on the agencies with non-compliance. Agencies currently in compliance monitoring, the Actuary, Commission on Human Rights, and LaGuardia Community College. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the research unit. You want to call someone in to report?
Yes, before we move on to the research unit, I just want to point out something about the resolution numbers. In 2017, the format of the resolution numbers will be changed. I think it's kind of difficult to understand how agencies are audited by reading the number. So I think what I want to do is put the year and then the number of the commission meeting. Like this is the 207th meeting, and then the agency code, and for audit, then it'll be the number, a chronological number of when it was audited. But for compliance, it will just have the C, so that everybody can know in 2017 at the 207th meeting, this agency was audited, and it was the first audit. I think, I'll explain it again,
Yeah,
but
okay.
the numbers are gonna look different for the next meeting, so I just wanna,
Okay.
yeah.
Could I just ask, how long will it take for the non-compliance? How much time are we giving them to comply, those non-compliance agencies?
We have given them time to comply. They've had,
How long?
Okay, well, the letter that we're sending them with the determination of non-compliance says that we will be back to them within 1 year.
Oh,
We-
1 year we're
right.
giving them. I was
That-
wondering about
At the
that.
last commission meeting, the commissioner stated that we should just hold them in non-compliance and say we will be back, we will return in
1 year, wow, okay, I was
Yes.
curious.
so these agencies have had 6 months to make some sort of movement on the
Right.
corrective actions that were prescribed and have not made meaningful progress. Meaningful progress, let's put it that way.
Is that one of the reasons we're giving them a year?
Yes, it is, it is.
It's taking that long for them to?
In fact, and as we discussed at our last meeting, and it's good that you bring this up, what we did is we gave each of these agencies, as well as some of the ones that have completed compliance, we did send them all a letter last week, after our last meeting, stating that the commission is finding them in non-compliance unless they are able to implement all of the corrective actions by this commission meeting. And so quite a few of them did
Oh, it's
cleaned
still
up.
there.
Yeah.
did move up. And some of the others, they have internal, they may, whatever the issues are, they are, they'll now receive a determination of non-compliance. They've been put on notice that they would receive one, and the resolution does state that the commission finds this is cause for non-compliance, and that we may, and we have the option to publish a report on them. Okay, So they've been given notice as we're required to do in the charter.
And prior to sending that letter, we sent a letter stating that they were at risk for non-compliance.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right,
So
okay.
they've gotten
Right.
2 letters
Yes.
before this.
Yeah, the letter's addressed to the
Agency head.
agency head,
Yes.
so the district attorney in Queens has
Yes.
gotten the letter.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Mhm.
I mean, it's the large unit, the other 2 are small units. The public administrator's offices are tiny.
But that was part of the
Places.
problem, right?
Yeah.
They had some structural
Yeah, they have structural issues.
issues.
The Bronx County Public Administrator, I guess, wanted to be the HR officer, was my recollection. Anyway. Okay.
The research unit.
Do you want us to start signing?
Yes.
Thank you.
It's not from. One last thing before Patrick starts. 1, 2, 3, we have 3 more agencies that we are going to initiate this year. Currently we have about 30 agencies that have been initiated. We're gonna initiate 3 more, that's the Water Department, Housing Authority, and Queensborough President's Office. Would you guys like to hear the agencies that are currently being audited, or is that fine?
I don't think it matters.
Okay, Patrick, do you need to say?
Yeah. Trade drinks. Thank you.
Yeah, you can. How are you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not paying attention. I'm just signing with my name appears. But I didn't sign over the extension.
Right.
Research reports, okay, so that should be there.
There should be 2 that are
I can
abstained.
just take the pros instead of the blank.
No, I'm fine, just,
No, you have 3 abstentions.
I only found
yeah,
one.
I think I should. Do you want me to dim the lights?
Yes, please. Thanks, sir.
All right. Thank you very much for having me today. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed a little status update that I'd like to have. I think we're doing
I like the visual.
Thanks. I mean, those are all the graphs that I do. I just create graphs all day. So first, there are a few major projects that we're working on in the research unit. They're both very exciting. One of which you've seen quite a bit about is the EPC on FDNY. We've completed the January supplement, incorporated it. There was a summary brief that you've received, the 2-pager, final full report is finished with those new additions, and it will be sent to the FDNY with their certificate of compliance. We are considering other distribution channels and audiences that we want to send them out to. Second, the occupational segregation. This is a project that I'm taking over. and reviewing a very interesting original report that was created by the previous director of research. It's very interesting. It's got some great material. I've been doing some reviews of literature and cross-referencing it with the document, and I feel that there's a lot of very interesting things that we can take from that and build on it for a larger, more comprehensive report. But first, a quick summary on the EPC on FDNY document. The percentage of Black and Hispanic firefighters is increasing, partially due to promotion of the firefighters from EMS pool that's very diverse.
Yeah.
It's a unique way. I think it's a very good way for experienced EMS personnel to come into the fire department.
But this does not break down as to women.
To women,
So this is Black and Hispanic, but not necessarily female.
Women, yeah.
the EMS pool is more diverse in gender, in terms of gender too.
This is just highlights.
Yeah, really.
It's, yeah, the report discusses females.
Mhm.
It does?
Yes.
Yes. So that's the two-pager covers a lot of it. The full report goes into some of the more detailed statistics and graphs. Also, whites are separating at a higher rate now. That determination is interesting in that are they leaving because they're being promoted to lieutenant, or are they leaving the fire department altogether, either through retirement or general separation. The fire supervisor job is quite different than the firefighter title. They consist of lieutenants, captains, battalion chiefs, and they are not diversifying as is the firefighter title.
I'm so surprised.
But there are some interesting caveats about this, is that the fire supervisor title, based on the most recent workforce profile report put out by the city, about 50% of them are eligible for retirement right now, and by 2020, about 75% of them will be eligible for retirement. So there is room for change in the immediate future, which is positive. Especially given there was a recent lieutenant promotion exam, and we've got a very long list. I think it's probably around 1,000 people that have passed the exam. We came up with a set of recommendations based on the findings, the first being to create or utilize an applicant tracking database to look at the candidate flow. This is very useful because you can see at which stages of the employment process, all the way from recruiting through promotion, where are the barriers, where are we seeing pipeline issues. We suggest that they leverage that diversity in the EMS title. They've got a great pool of current city employees in the EMS title that have the training. What they can do is focus on exam prep for the firefighter title, as well as recruiting from the EMS title, make sure that they're fully informed about what they can do with their title. We suggest they create a strategic plan for the diversification of that fire supervisor title. This includes leadership development and succession planning. If you have a diversifying firefighter title, then there's no reason why that shouldn't translate into the fire supervisor positions, therefore changing that, the unchanging profile of the fire supervisors. And in addition, training selection managers on the value of diversity and merit-based employment decisions. This is a series of a few. We also have a few more that are in the full report, but those are the highlights.
I'm just curious, like, do you know relatively what percentage of EMS workers want to go into the fire department as firefighters?
I don't know specifically those. They should be, the fire department, if they're not making the EMS personnel aware. I can't imagine the fire department isn't making the EMS personnel aware of their opportunities, just given that it's a promotion position.
It's higher wage.
Yeah.
Right, but it's also riskier. I was just curious if like if half of them like or 5%, like what is it doesn't, I'm just curious like what percentage of folks even want to go into the fire department?
That's
Something that,
interesting.
what we could look at something like the years of service that people have been in the EMS title to see, are people staying there? Because I think the requirement is 2 or 3 years EMS service before you can.
Well, we did a comparison in the report of the number that are leaving the EMS title and the number that are joining the fire title, but there's no direct link that.
And we don't know,
Those people.
and we don't track why they leave, right?
No, we can't.
Mhm.
I mean,
You have no
That
ability
information
to
is
find it
not-
unless
yeah.
they're told.
Is it considered a promotion?
From EMS to firefighter, yes.
So don't we have promotion numbers?
We have the number of people that were promoted, we don't have
we don't have how many,
their previous title.
we don't have what title they're, we don't have a direct link between the title that they're leaving and the title they're being promoted to.
So the
just
promotion
have
number
a
is the
number.
promotion to, or is it promotion from?
We get
The
from,
state's data, it's just the number of promotions that
Two.
are-
But,
Right, to the title.
but Melina's right, there are different
Yeah.
risks
Yeah.
that are inherent. A firefighter title means really fighting with fire. The EMS is dealing with just people that are at risk for a whole host of other things, and trying to resuscitate them. So that's it. But it's the ambulance. And there may not only be different skill sets, there may well be a different attraction to one versus the other. There may well be an aversion to going to where it's hot.
right, I agree, and there are those
Totally
barriers
different truck.
preventing EMS personnel from going. It is a change in lifestyle requirements. If you're on call as an EMS, you're on call as a firefighter, does that mean you stay in the firehouse and
There are a whole
you're
host
away
of,
from your family
Yeah.
rather than being, so, yeah.
it's which is,
And EMS
gonna stop me, because it has names absent.
No, please,
Just go inside over it. Okay, I was gonna say, we're gonna stop me because you all have design over
Can you
it.
get one of those? Take.
And I'm still always curious as to how to get people to join the fire department or the police department. How do they advertise?
well, the fire department's been doing a broad amount of advertising and having people actually on street corners, trying to get people to sign up in
This is the
particular
first time I've heard
neighborhoods.
this.
Train stations,
Subway
yeah.
No, subway stops, and part of it is because they have, and they say that there's such a larger group of women and minorities who have signed up to take the test this time. So they've gone on a full-fledged campaign to try to get others to join, other than white
Yeah, I'd like to
families.
see that written out, because I haven't seen it anywhere.
No, 'cause then
This is the
everybody-
first time I hear of something
No, I've
on
seen
the
it.
street.
Right, they have a recruitment plan
You
that's
know?
very
But that would
extensive.
be good to
Yeah.
have it written out,
And they should.
and how they do that.
They're
How do they
discussing the recruitment that the FDNY is doing, and I was
Oh,
mentioning that they have a
curious about
recruitment
that, 'cause
plan.
Yes, they have a recruitment plan.
They do have a
They do
very
have a recruitment plan.
Including advertisements and various.
The recruitment
I'd
plan
like to
does
see
not
that.
include the firefighter
which
title.
one is that, please?
It's the non-uniform
Commissioner, there's no
FDNY.
It's the ones that have the U indicator
I think
as
there's another one in
utilized.
here that's like that too.
And because
Boring.
these reports state that there's no underutilization in the firefighter title, it's not included in the recruitment.
Which is interesting, that there's no.
But that's not what they said publicly.
These two have some absent.
The assumption was,
Okay, the one that
in their
has,
public statements, that
no name.
it was, they have recruited more women and minorities into the fire department.
Oh, they
Yeah.
definitely did a lot of recruitment, it's just not a part of their forward recruitment planning for the EEPC.
It's not a part of the recruitment plan that we requested. However, we requested information about the firefighter title separately from that plan, like intricate information about where the testing occurs and things like that. It was a separate request, so.
It's taken a long time to get you people in there, people that are missing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
women, et cetera, yeah.
And that's been a lot of the fire supervisor title, because there is quite a process between, especially for EMS titles, they're going through the EMS, they're spending time there, then going to the firefighter, you need to spend 3 years before you're even eligible to take the lieutenant exam. And then the exam, the grading, the
Plus,
list.
you've got a waiting list of 1,000 people on the lieutenant exam, which means that there are others that are waiting for the people in place to retire.
Mhm.
And you can't push them
From
out,
within,
they're
yeah.
civil service, so
Understand.
there we go.
But there's a retirement horizon for if people are retiring on time, which is kind of up in the air right now. It's on the horizon.
Based on 9/11, my assumption is that a lot of the people in those titles are younger than you think they might have been.
Hmm.
There was a huge loss of manpower
I'm sure they're
on
not
9/11.
gonna-
So, which was over a dozen years ago, but still, there would have been a replacement then of a large number of lieutenants who were probably younger than you think, than you might want to think they were. I don't know what the age range is. There were whole groups of firefighters that were lost. Okay.
So did you have a question?
Yes,
Well, I'll be happy to answer any questions. Second project being occupational segregation. There is a proposal in progress for a variety of different analyses to add on to the current report. One of which is a more title-specific analysis where we can look at the barriers, including if we're looking at specific titles that are of interest, we look at educational requirements, exams, and working conditions. In the original report, we see certain titles like school safety, like a crossing guard.
Heavily female.
Yes, and there are unique barriers that you consider with that position, that it's for moving from the school safety agent to another title, not necessarily possible because of the change in working hours. So there are unique barriers that go to specific titles. Instead of looking at citywide for all our analyses, we should consider uniformed and non-uniformed as a different animal. It's a unique position, firefighter, corrections, sanitation, and the ratio of male to female in those titles could skew a citywide analysis because they are such large agencies. Jurisdictional class differences for permanent and non-competitive titles. Gender stereotyped title. There are titles that come, or jobs that come with an idea about who should be in those roles, and if there's an idea about who should be in those roles prior to filling the role, then that's something that we should consider.
Skilled trades goes to the bias that may or may not exist at the unions. And so that, I don't know what, if anything, one can do about that, but we might want to look at whether there is any way for the city, who employs a whole lot of people, to do the same thing that law firms have done, which is to ask that there be minorities employed doing the work. I mean, if the city is the place where many painters are going to come,
Mhm.
then if the city is looking at the skilled trades and what the feeders are,
Mhm.
and ask that they show that they have a compliance program to comply with diversity. So I don't know how you break into that,
Mhm.
but the city as the employer of choice may have a greater ability to alter what is the gender bias within the trades.
Okay.
I don't know how, and I don't know how you look at it, but that's, you have to spend some time as an intern in the electrical union to become an electrician,
Right. The
a licensed
apprenticeship.
electrician. That apprentice program may well be stereotyped,
Mhm.
and but the large employer, because as I say, the model in my head is that the law firms the corporations started telling the law firms, we want to see more women and minorities on the teams, and that began to break the law firm cycle.
Interesting.
So I don't know, and again, the only person who can break it is the large employer.
Mhm. Interesting.
I don't,
Well,
when you look at the skilled trades, I mean, my sense is that that's still going on. I don't know that to be true, but I don't see very many female electricians.
mhm. Right. Carpenters. it's-
And there's no reason, there's nothing in it that says they can't do it.
Mhm.
Maybe they don't want to, going to your point before with AMS into firefighter title. But I can't imagine, because it's well paid,
Mhm.
and it's well paid blue collar, I don't
Mhm.
see any reason why it shouldn't. So,
Well, it all goes back to educational requirements and actually analyzing the title and seeing whether or not the people that are earning skills and degrees in those areas where the saturation is. Because if you don't have a high saturation of the people having the skills and the degrees, you're not gonna see it in the workforce. So,
yeah.
right, it goes back to.
But there, and the reason for there, because there the barrier is the training coming from the union. You have to be licensed, and that training's coming not from the school, but coming out of the union. That's the point I'm making.
Oh, for the skilled trades.
Yes, that's the point I'm making. I agree with you. I mean, if you don't have a workforce, if you don't have enough female architects, you're not gonna be able to hire them. I accept that. But this is a different animal, and I don't know. It's asking whether, once you look at occupational segregation, whether there is something we can encourage the city to do that will alter the picture. And it's really, I guess, encouraging DCAS to do that would alter the picture.
Or
Right.
examining what they do and seeing whether or not we can enhance it.
Can't hear you.
Anyway, yeah,
Okay.
it's all
Okay.
duly noted.
Good.
Duly
No.
Yeah, there's a great deal we can do with a lot of these ideas and looking into the specific titles that are of interest. So much information we can find.
Yep.
Gender occupation segregation within racial groups, which is a very interesting
I
phenomenon.
think that's what you brought up.
Yeah. Some of the research that's been demonstrated shows extreme occupational segregation in Hispanics based on gender. Men and women, Hispanic men and women are simply doing entirely different jobs. And for the reason that I haven't quite found yet, but it's something that we should look at in the city workforce.
Which I'm assuming leads to huge wage disparity, right? Like, 'cause the fact is that if all the Latino women are doctors and all the Latino men are lawyers, we wouldn't really care. But I'm assuming that it's because one is in a low wage, the women are in low wage, predominantly low wage occupations versus the men, correct?
Right. That's correct.
There are many more women judges these days because they get paid less than partners in law firms. It's an interesting way to look at it,
I never
though.
thought about it that way. I know more African American women judges than I know law partners, and I never thought about that before.
Yeah, but judgeships are also more stable hours versus like becoming a partner in a law firm.
Yeah.
is
Not necessarily, not if you're doing estate work rather than doing litigation. It depends, it really does, so so
But
that's.
to get to a partner in a large law firm, that requires a lot of like, you gotta put in a lot of time to get to that point.
Yes, but the judges have probably been lawyers doing family court work, so they've been doing litigation in a private firm before they do it. I hate being cynical, but it really, if you look at it and the growth, it's something where the men clearly are still on a track where they're earning more. And the other piece is there are very few female general partners in large law firms, even though the women have been out of the law schools now for 40 years in large numbers. Again, it's a stereotype and a segregation stereotype, I would argue. But yes, you know many more judges.
I do. I do. I never thought about it before.
So public and private sector comparisons is a much more complex issue given the nature of the city workforce, and do we have a comparison for these positions in the private sector? And we don't for a lot of them, but if we can identify some in the private sector where there is an overlap of typical duties and standards for the job, then maybe that's a starting point for us to compare the occupational segregation. As a trained psychologist, a lot of these phenomena are very interesting to me. Occupational hoarding and social closure, the idea.
It's like.
So basically, social closure is the idea that groups create boundaries and exclude other groups because they feel as though the resources that they have will be taken away when another group.
Anti-immigration.
Probably a very, very good example.
Okay, just.
And opportunity hoarding, the idea that there are a great deal of stable, well-paying jobs at the city that have